Hello everyone. We're going to start here with the body. This is a continuation of our series, and we will be doing the anatomy of the back and the front, the chest, and the abdominal area. Okay. So one of the things that we talked about in class was to actually get this guy into a lower resolution. Right now he's pretty high, he's at 2.4 million. That's pretty dense. So if we want to move large portions of mass, that's going to be not difficult, but it's definitely going to create issues like ridges and demarcation lines that we probably don't want, and they're actually going to be very difficult to soften up, smooth out later on. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this guy, which is the one that we're using, and we are going to hit duplicate right over here. We're going to hide our original one. Okay. We're going to hide the eyes. We're just going to leave this guy over here. We're going to go under geometry, and we're going to go under ZRemesher. Now, as I had explained before, you can go ahead and do it this way without guides. There's always that possibility to do it if you want a really quick job. But let's try with guides and see how it goes. So it's B and Z for Remesher and ZRemesherGuides. I'm going to get this with dynamic right over here. It's okay. Okay, we got it good. Let me see, is this, no, it's not working. Dynamic, there you go. Nope. Well, these buttons, I have to push for it. There you go. Just growing with it. Yeah. What I'm trying to do here is to select dynamic. Goes with one of these and you turn it off. There you go. Now we're going to create the guides with it. We have X selected. We're going to create the ones for the eye. So I'm just going to go right over here and make sure that this is, and until you reach that other point. There you go. Now we're going to create the second one. And they don't have to be perfect. You just have to reach. Now we're going to do the one for the nose. And create the holes right over here for it. Create the one for the mouth. That one was kind of ugly. The one for the ear. I think that's so far what we're going to do. Let's quick save it. I am going to use, I'm not going to use adaptive density. I'm just going to use strength of the curve, adaptive size right over here, and I'm going to set this to, let's see, 20,000. We'll see how that goes. Let's try it. Now I'm going to pause it while it's calculating, so we're not wasting time here just watching the clock go by. So let me hit ZRemesher, and I'll see you guys on the other side. And this was what was created. Shift F. You see, it's fairly good. Maybe if we create a little bit more, let's see how the entire body looks like. That is pretty dense in the body. Not as chunky as I would like it. But that'll do for now. I think that's good. We're not looking for perfection on this. It's just so we can manipulate the mesh a little bit better. So we will leave it like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do, now that we have this guy, our original mesh was 2.5 million, I believe is what it was. So we have to raise, we're going to reproject this mesh onto this mesh so we can get all of the detail we had put into it, and we can get that back. So how we're going to do that is going to, on this mesh that it has the ZRemesher, the ZRemeshed, if you will, is reconstruct this divide. And we're going to use 1, which takes us to 147,000. We're going to do it again by hitting Control D. It takes us to 500,000. Do it again, and that's 2.3 million, which is pretty close to what we had before. If we switch, you'll see that this one has 2.4, so that's pretty damn close. Next step will take us close to 10 million, and that might be a little too much, so I'm just going to leave it at this. I think that's a good solution right there. Let's bring it back. We're going to get a remesh. not remesh, project. And we're going to leave it with this distance so far. I'm just going to leave it at that. We are going to get this mesh on, turn it on, and just make sure that only these two are on. Project all. And we have some polypainting, so we're going to say no, I don't want the polypaint to be projected. That's our first one. Let's hit D to take it into the second level. We are going to get project all once again. That's good. D again for the third one. Project all. No. You can tell it's still thinking about it because the cursor, I mean, I can move my cursor over here, but the brush, it's still static right there. And now you can also tell that it's computing right over here. Calculating. It's taking its sweet time. Okay. And let's do our last level. And I'm going to hit project all. No. Alright. So this mesh has been reprojected. We're done. Let's see how it turned out. Beautiful. Now we can see that it has a new topology, and it transferred pretty much all of the detail just the way I wanted it. So that's good. Let's see, fingers and everything went well. Nice. So now we can get to work on the back and the front of the mesh. Now we have our levels. Let's not forget to quick save this. Okay, so I'm gonna use clay tubes for this. You guys can tell I already have some. I already done some of the work when we did the original mesh. Okay, let's reestablish the clavicle. That's a little too much strength. I'll bring it down to like around here. You guys know I don't like too much that strength. I'm going to bring it down actually into Shift D. And it's going to go right over here. A little bit higher. And that is an important feature to Sculpt. It needs to be there. It's a body landmark. Very important to have it, especially the nut right over here. Clavicle only goes up to here, and there's a little bit more of a bony area right over here, but that's part of the actual scapula. They actually join right over here at this area, and there's this wing of the scapula. And also, you're gonna see right here, there's gonna be a dip, and that's for the where this muscle right here, the trapezius, and this muscle right over here, which is the rear deltoid, that's where they meet, and it's on the spine of the scapula. So and there's a dip. Okay, so we are gonna do the pectoralis major, and it comes attached from the top to the clavicle, like in this fashion. As we said before, they come in this direction. Attached to the humerus, the tuberosity of the humerus. I believe it's the superior one, if I'm not mistaken. Let me do it from this angle now. And they go up. So these muscle fibers join up higher, while these muscle fibers join up lower. Oops. Sometimes it's better to put this in this situation right over here. Always, when you want to do straight lines, going vertical is easier for your hand. Just learn that, and you'll make your life a lot easier. Right over here. Again, 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 again. And you know, it's always a good idea to select the mass lasso tool so you can keep all these muscles separated from what you want to sculpt. So there you go. So again, now like I said in class, the belly of the muscle is in this area right over here. That's where it's its thickest. Obviously, if you go and look at Arnold Schwarzenegger or any guy like that, I mean, they're gonna have mass everywhere. But in a regular person, the mass is right over here. Okay. Now another thing that we can do is to go for the rake. And let me see. B, I think is, where's the rake? There's a rake brush. Where is it? Let's see, is it under C? Okay. That's not what I want. Yeah, that is the rake. And this one actually does pretty cool marks on the body. It's too much intensity. But if we take it all the way up, you can see it makes some nice striations. There you go. And it's a very cool tool to kind of give it that muscle look that we're looking after. So, you know, that's a cool thing to do if you want to give it this muscle striation look. So there you go. Now I'm gonna go back to to keep working on with the regular clay tubes. Okay, now what we're gonna do is clear that mask, and we are gonna work on, let's take the arms out, and we're gonna go into the select lasso tool, and with Control Shift Command or Option, I don't know what that would be. Actually, it's not Command. I'm sorry. Control Shift Option. We're gonna select the red selection tool. Just it will take away. Let's take those guys out. Alright. Now we can see much better. Go back to D. Shift D on that. We're going to select these ones. Select that one. That one. Like this. Like fingers. Literally. And I'm going to give it a little bit more mass. It's actually a littler finger right over here, but you can barely tell it's there. And this goes right underneath all of this mass. Let's get rid of this one because we don't need that. This muscle actually goes all the way underneath the chest. It goes all underneath the scapula. It's what attaches the scapula to the rib cage. It raises the scapula. So you usually see the scapula popping out. Well, that's the muscle that's underneath it. It gives a lot of that girth, if you may. So now that we have it separated, I am actually going to give it some polygroups so I can work it for masking. You can tell now it's there. I'm going to give it some girth right over here. Just like this. And again, in very muscular guys, this muscle just grows huge. Doing a lot of pull-ups will get you, and chin-ups will give you this muscle. Because for pull-ups, you need to have very strong the muscle in the scapula needs to be very strong. So let's see how thick that is. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good Superman muscle. This is the way I like to call it, the Superman muscle. Because if you see it in all the comics, it's always showing, or He-Man, whatever, any of those muscly guys, you can tell it's pretty strong feature on them. I am going to create some striations right there. Some division lines. Actually, not like that. Like this. Because they're actually straight like that. And there. Actually, it's a lot this way. There you go. That's where the other muscle comes into play, the lats, latissimus dorsi in Latin. And we're gonna do another clay tooth for that. I'm gonna bring this in this direction. Latissimus dorsi goes like this, like that. It just embraces all of this area. It actually hides a little bit of the teres major. And this direction is easier for me. It comes attached, and here's a little lumbar area. Use a matcap white so you can see a little bit better what we're doing. I'm gonna give it a smooth. Slight smoothing so we can see what we're doing. That's nice. I like that. Looking good. That's a nice strong sharp edges right there. I am going to build the teres major a little bit better. So let's start with some of the back muscles. I'm going to start with the trapezius, which starts right here in the nuchal area of the back, the head. Wraps around, and it comes attached right here to the clavicle in this area, just as the front deltoid comes on the other area of the clavicle. Comes like this. Now this is all tendon right over here, so it's not as strong, it's kind of flat. And this goes like this. And this goes like this. And it starts fanning in. Now there's a lot of muscle area right over here. This is where the belly is of this muscle. So let's make sure that it's there. All the belly is in this area. This is very strong also. But we need to make sure that this one is evident. Again, they're all comes attached right there, but this is where the strongest area is. This is a lot of tendon. Let's make sure that we have the cut right there for the spine. spine of the scapula. The other spine of the scapula is right over here. It's got two. There's one over here and there's one on the lateral. I want to make sure that we have some nice muscular figure right over here. And again, it comes attached to the front of the clavicle. Just kind of wraps around. Let's soften it up a little bit. There you go. That's nice. Like that. Give it a little bit more girth. Raise it up. And again, this has a lot to do with the touch you're giving the pen. You know, you can dictate a lot of the strength on the brush by how light or how tight or how strong you do these strokes. I mean, I start very gentle, right where I don't want much strength, and push right in the middle where I want the belly of the muscle. That's how, see, I've gained that right there. So you gotta be have a lot of touch. Okay, so we are going to select this. So I want to create, actually let's do this. It's a lot easier to do it this way. Come on. Sometimes getting rid of that does not work. Let's do this. Okay. And let's reverse it. And we're going to have our rhomboids. Okay. Now we are going to have our infraspinatus, which is this one right over here. Infra means inferior. There's a supraspinatus right over here on top of the clavicle. It's not as big of a muscle, but it's right underneath all of these muscles. It's right on the top of the scapula. Make sure that I'm getting this right. Okay, and this one goes in this direction. Let's a little bit more of this. We don't want to go into where the actual teres minor is. That one is hidden right underneath all these big guys. Okay. Smooth it out. Nice. Now we're gonna do the teres minor, which is hidden, like I said, right there. Oh, reverse. And it's not very evident, so just you don't need to work on it that much. Now we're gonna have the teres major. This one is quite evident right over here. No, it's not that big. It is a little bit bigger than that. And that one also comes attached to the arm. So let's get rid of this. There you go. Did this work? Yes, it did. Let's reverse it. guess, excuse the language that it's on this music. I didn't know it was gonna be like that. Okay, let's see. And this is usually a very big muscle. You can always tell on just about everybody that it's there, so even thin people. Okay, so now we can work a little bit more on the lats. And let's do our selection right over here. It's a little bit further in. There you go. That's how the lats are supposed to be. Let's take this out. Okay. Let's reverse it. And now let's go over all of these. It goes like that, like that, like that, like that. Fans in into a single tendon that is connected to the superior tuberosity of the humerus. And again, it's not a very thick muscle. It's just kind of like goes over these ones. And obviously the thickest part is right over here, this area. There you go. And I did it this way because I want to make the serratus anterior very evident underneath it. So make sure that we have this. There you go. That's very nice right there. This is where our flank will start. Now we're going to move on to the flank, and which is your obliquus externus, and all of the obliques right over here. So let's do a selection right here, not a selection but a masking. I do not understand where it does that. Shouldn't. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna go, and let's mask this area of the leg. Excuse me. All right, maybe a little more. Okay, so these muscles come from underneath the lats, and it comes into an area right over here. This is all tendon, or an aponeurosis, also known as. This is sheath of connective tissue that attaches the muscles to certain areas, like bones and stuff like that. I'm going to create more masking, and the obliques come down like this. Let me mask this. Like that. That. Along the body. My marks there before were a little bit off because they do have to go down. They go out in this direction. See right over here, because they look like they interlace with the serratus anterior, with the fingers of the serratus anterior. They don't actually interlace, but they do meet at that same area. That's where they attach to the bone. There you go. So let's do some markings with our damn standard tool. Brush, I'm sorry. 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, and this one's hard, not as evident. There you go. They kind of disappear right here on this aponeurosis. Let's add a little bit more clay tubes. We have the belly of this muscle right here. So let's make sure that it's thicker than everywhere else. Let's see, it's already doing a pretty good job right there. Let's do this. Let's do this. A little more girth. There you go. And I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. There you go. That's good. Okay, now we have our last muscles, which are the six-pack, or also known as your rectus abdominis. Six-packs are actually 8-packs, like I mentioned before in class. We have one that starts right over here. That's usually the one that most people never see. Most people have this 6-pack right over here. What we need to make sure is that we're making this evident, which is where the bone area, the edge of the rib cage is. And we need to make that not too much intensity, but we need to make it evident. Because this raises up, it comes right over here. And as you guys are seeing, this is I'm putting very light pressure just to make it evident that it's there. A lot of bones come attached to this, and I don't want to disturb what I've already done. So now there's an area that dips right over here, and an area that dips right over here. Make sure to put that in there. There you go. That is nice, like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to clay tubes. This. Okay. And again, the externus abdominis, they're not even. They're not the same side to side, but we're gonna create them like that just because we can. Let me create this a little bit less. A little bit less than that. They're not as big. There you go. And we're gonna create this one. This is what's called la linea aspera, and it doesn't really exist in the middle one. It kind of fades away. I mean, on the last row set of muscles right here of rectus abdominis. It actually kind of like that. And later on you can introduce a little bit of asymmetry to make them more, look a lot more real. Soften them up a little bit. Okay, and we've got our front and back of the body and sides done. Can't forget about the fossa right over here, the inferior fossa of the clavicle, and the one on the top also. We had forgotten to talk about this very important muscle right here on the neck, which is the sternocleidomastoid. Attaches to the mastoid process of the skull right over here, in this area right over here. There's an area on the skull that just dips down like that. That's where it comes attached to. It's got two heads. One that goes onto the side right over here. It's not as big. Comes underneath this main one. This one comes on top of it. And it goes onto the actual edge of the clavicle, right where it starts. It's not as big right here on the side. It's made it a little too big. Okay. Now there is muscles underneath this, and they usually go in this direction and all that. They're just not evident on the human figure. So there's no point in marking them, at least not for this exercise. We just want the ones that are landmarks that you can actually tell they're there. And let's make this obvious too. Alrighty. And this is where that fossa is. We all have that little dip there. Make sure it's there. Okay. I'm not liking his neck, so I'm going to take this down. And the neck is triangular towards the front, where the height is right here on the throat, obviously. Right now he looks like he's got, how do you call it when your glands are swollen? And we don't want that. I don't want him to look sickly. Okay, there you go. And because he's a dude, we gotta put the Adam's apple. It's a little knob there. Okay. Maybe if we push it out a little bit, it will work better that way. There you go. That looks much better. All right. And we did all of this at a lower subdivision. There was no need to get into higher subdivisions at the moment. I'm a big believer in staying on lower subdivisions while you can. I'm going to... Okay, let's make sure that this is right. Okay. There's a little bit of protrusion usually right over here. We'll go into lower subdivisions even more. There you go. This one tucks in a little bit. These ones go to the front. There you go. lines actually. Let me see this. There you go. Much better. D. Let's make sure that we have some nice definition right over here. Usually you can use some straight lines, give it some structure. Then it finds a way. Whoops, too much. There you go. And a bit right there. Now we have much better definition. We need to have one right over here for the spine of the pelvis. And the iliac spine. It goes like this. Sometimes it's even stronger than that. Alright. There's also right over here. I put right in the middle. So what you do is you make sure that it's right in the middle, press and then shift, and it should create a straight line. Now don't press shift before you press on it, because obviously that's going to give you the smooth tool. Now we got to put the 7th vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae, which is evident on everyone. Right over here. That's another landmark. Maybe the one on right above it, it's slightly 6th one and the 8th one, but the 7th one is the one that really shows up. Alright guys, I think we are done with the body. We can probably give it some good... Oh, I forgot this line right over here. There you go. Another one of those that needs to be there. Okay. Make sure that there's delineation right over here. See, once I thought that I was done and I keep putting stuff in. Very slightly mark this. Make sure that that spine is there. Okay. And let's go up and very nice. Let's hit quick save. And now with Or B, C, C. Nope, that's not it. B, C, and where's our rake tool? I just saw it. We just had it. Where's it at? Is it under R? Nope, it's not. Oh, I lost it. Well, let's go to our brushes. It should be because we already used it. There you go. And let's do these muscles right over here. I'm going to do it very slightly. I'm not going to put too much on it. And we can smooth this later on, so. There it is. Now this one, we have two. Okay. Then we're going to go in this direction. Oops. That was easy. Now this one. Move that out, and we're going to have this direction. This one on this direction. And our tears major. Nicely done. Actually, let me back that up. There you go. Now, they don't have to be very noticeable, like I said. It's not a requirement. Nope, not that. Make sure that our and that is again Control Shift and Option. Okay. And I'm going to do this. Nope. I'm going to C sub. So I like it to dig better. And now you noticed I'm not marking the ones right here because this is tendon, and although it does have some sort of a fiber to it, but it's not. The muscle is the one that we want to show as having some sort of fiber direction. There you go. That's nice. I like that. Now, our serratus anterior, it goes straight. So let's use our, nope. Nope, don't do that. Oh, I'm going to do that backwards. That's not needed. I already have it right here. I'm going to Give it less draw size. Intensity is fine. This one's go down on almost in a 45-degree angle. Like that. Like this. And you guys see how I do just one at a time. I want to make sure that I'm getting the right angles and all that. Let me make sure that I am. There you go. Now a lot of this is also, it starts to get into a sheath of aponeurosis when it reaches this area. So, and they change directions right over here. Actually, all of these are going to an aponeurosis on top of it, and they actually go over the rectus abdominis. I'm pressing a little hard right here to make better marks. Get rid of this. That's good. Let's do the head because we haven't done it, so you might as well do that. And let's do the sternocleidomastoid. And let me use the damn standard to make sure that we separate these two muscles. Let me do this again. Oops, no. Let's put this on an angle that I can actually have a better chance of getting it right. There you go. That's how they're separated. Okay, so now let's go back to rake. Oops. Now the masseter, let's do it. It goes down. I'm going to bring down this to 6, probably a little bit more intensity so we can see it. This striation is a lot smaller. And we are going to have, let's see which other one. We're going to have the orbicularis oris. That one's going to be a little tricky. Are we at our high subdivision? Yep. They're not going to be as evident because we're at such a higher subdivision. Let's put the eyes on. There you go. Doesn't look as weird. And the frontalis muscle, the corrugator. you're gonna have the one that goes over the nose, and the salus, that goes down, and we're gonna have the zygomaticus minor and the zygomaticus. It's attached right there. The buccinator. And then talus. It's right over here. And the orbicularis oris. Goes around. Oh, the damn standard we can create is just a little bit too much. Under stroke, where's stroke? I know I have it over here, and we're gonna go to lazy mouse, a little bit more lazy mouse, 0.002. No, I don't want to make the marks too big, because we obviously are going to have to work with this later. And I don't want to have to be struggling trying to smooth out these forms. Oops. Goes like this. The buccinator. And now we have the masseter. Talus. Actually, the talus just goes right over here. Then we have the orbicularis oris. Okay, that's much better. All right. No, I don't want to do that. It looks ugly. Only when there's delineations between muscles where it should be. Whoops. And let's go to brush again. Let's pick up the rake. Now you can tell we're running out of geometry, even at this high subdivision, at least in this area. Okay. I think that's good. And that is it for this video. Next time around, we will come around and start working on the arms and hopefully the legs. Maybe we'll have 2 separate videos for that, but that will be our next step. So here we have the back. A quick save right over here real quick. We have the back, and with Shift S we're gonna get a copy of it, and we're gonna move it, and here you go. So we have that. I'm actually going to take I'm gonna go right over here. I'm going to select it, and this is for the thumbnail of the video that I'm making. So Control S and character thumb. Oh, not like that. I don't even know what to call it. 00, I believe this would be 6. That'll do it, and here you go. Alright, I hope you guys learned a lot on this one, and hopefully it was useful. I'll see you guys on the next video.